Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on the test account and we have an event that is up that I absolutely love. Now, of course, this is opposite of the Fight of Fates, which I'm not too fond of. It kind of does get boring, but this one is the Lost Sigils. Now, if you're new to AFK Arena, this is a way to get a ton of resources, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, I haven't looked at it yet, if there is going to be updated heroes in here. Now, within the Lost Sigils, you're actually going to be rewarded with sigils based on heroes that you use in combat. So again, if you're newer to AFK Arena, I'm going to show you exactly how this does work. That way you can ensure, and you do have to kind of plan out what sigils you're going to get based on which rewards that you have. So unfortunately, up front, you do have to kind of base it on what you're looking to get out of the event. And then you kind of have to back it into how you're going to get it with the heroes that you do possess. Now, they also did add in the Road of Glory. The Road of Glory, of course, is going to be free loot out of here. There's also a paid version that you can buy it. But out of here, you will get some extra rewards out of here, which is cool to go hand in hand with the Lost Sigils itself. So let's look through the rewards. Now, of course, when it comes to events, when it comes to any events over the last 5 years within AFK Arena, red chests have always been a priority. So getting the red chests out of here is really a huge priority, especially with the addition of the plus 40 signature items. The need for red chests went through the roof with that update, of course. And then as we get new heroes, so when you're looking at Rimuru, when you're looking at Shuna, when you're looking at the awakened version of Antandra, all of those still need the plus 20 to a plus 30 signature item, which means that it needs 300 red chests right there, which again is pretty high. Then when you add on what you need to go from a 30 to a 40, if you're taking the hero that high, exponentially, you just need more red chests to go ahead and build those out. So these are always a very, very good choice. Now, one thing to note in here is there is the Dragon Speak emblems. Now, overall, my take on this is I wouldn't buy these. As you can see, we already own 300 of them. The reason being, we are getting them out of the Dragonforge trials every single week that we're going in there. And for a majority of players, especially if you are free to play, not buying anything, chances are you might have one, maybe two heroes actually built out. And even when you look big picture at the heroes that are available in there, if you're building out Hildwyn, if you're building out Nyla, they are the two real priorities as a free-to-play player that you're going to be getting, because Gwen is going to be super expensive. And of course, with Hildwyn, they're giving you free copies, where Gwen, they are not. Gwen is going to be straight up the insignias that you do need to go ahead and build her. The gear is not worth it. They do have draconic gear, so pretty interesting. Now, of course, once you get to a certain point in AFK Arena, the draconic gear really doesn't make a difference, and gear in general really doesn't have a big impact when you look at the stats that it's adding. So again, this is something that a nice update, but I definitely wouldn't prioritize getting out of here. Tier 1 stones, Tier 2, Tier 3 stones, Tier 4 stones. Again, the gear is going to have minimal effect. These will come in time. These you actually get out of a couple different events for free. Then we get into the cores. So very similar to what we see with the red chest, elemental cores are a really big priority, because a lot of heroes, including having all those draconic heroes, do require a higher engraving. So of course, elemental cores, you're going to go through them forever. Again, looking at Rimuru, I'm thinking of Shuna, thinking of even looking at the awakened version of Antandra, Athalia. There are so many heroes, any of the awakened heroes, that have to have this 60 engraving, which makes it, again, very, very expensive. I believe it still runs 4,500 elemental cores to go from a 30 to a 60. Then if you want to go above that 60, it is going to be even exponentially more expensive as you continue building them up, which we know the awakened version of Antandra, I took her up to an 80, which is very, very expensive when it comes to the elemental cores. And then, of course, we have baits. This has kind of been a big debate for a while, is if you should get baits versus heroes. My thought on this is, if you have a majority of the primary meta heroes, I would absolutely go with the baits. And the reason being, you have to think it very similar to what the Elder Tree does. So the Elder Tree levels up every single hero when you start looking at the multitude of game modes. And of course, the bigger game modes, we're looking at the Nightmare Corridor, we're looking at the Cursed Realm, we're looking at the Treasure Scramble. When you start getting into a multiple of teams, having the beast built up is an absolute game changer. And it is a game changer, not only stat-wise for that team, but also for the abilities that the beast does possess within formations, making them, again, a higher priority. And of course, once you get your baits and once you get your beast to that resonating level 18, not really a need to build them any higher. You can for, of course, stats, but when it comes to building them out themselves, and of course, when it comes to any new beast releases, you're getting them already at 18, which is the reason why I would definitely prioritize getting them to 18. Now, when we get into everything else down here, Pokecoin's not worth it. None of these worth it. And look at the heroes. So they did update a little bit. So that is pretty good to note. And of course, looking here, Valoris, which not worth it at all, unfortunately, with this hero. Not used, not utilized anywhere. Twins, very, very, very niche. Even Valkyrie. Valkyrie is used in a PvP aspect. That is it in the Treasure Scramble, which again, if you don't have Valkyrie, you can replace another hero. But we do have Lucilla. Now, of course, when it comes to Lucilla, she is one of the top 4 that we see built within our Stargazer to really prioritize. When you think of the list, and again, this list really hasn't changed. We haven't seen any game-changing heroes in the Stargazer, but we're looking at number 1 being Libirda, then probably Damia or Lavatune, and then that would be kind of 2 and 3. But the third one would be Lucilla. So this would be one that you might recommend picking up if you're building her out. If you don't have plans to build her out, of course, don't build her out. But when you start looking at the increased rates, this is kind of something you have to keep in mind is with the increased rates, it is a lot easier to get these heroes, and you can use your Stargazer Scrolls, and you can use the diamonds. Now, when it comes to everything else in here cost-wise, and again, the value of these have dropped a little bit, not the value of the hero itself, but the value of, or essentially the value of the hero, because you're getting them easier. So again, I wouldn't put such a big priority on the heroes. And when you also look at an event over this one, like the overarching event in general, they're very expensive. And that is a lot of sigils that you have to use specifically to get one copy of the hero, which again, I feel like the diamonds and the Stargazer Scrolls would be more beneficial to just go ahead and summon them out of there and just get loot out of the event like this. And honestly, that's my preference. So looking back here, so let's say we wanted to get some of our cores. We'll just use the cores for the example. So as you can see, we need 10 Wilder sigils, and we also do need 10 Lightbearer sigils, or the Sigil of Light. That means we have to use a very, very specific heroes in here to get these sigils. So when we start looking here, we'll look at the matchmaking, and I'll show you kind of what we look at. So when we go in here, you can see right here. So we have 5 Wilder heroes right here. This is going to yield us 5 Wilder sigils. So there's a couple ways that you can kind of mix and match this. So some players will come in here, they will run all 6 battles with 5 of the same heroes. So essentially they're going to be getting, I believe at 6 battles, it's like 30 of these sigils. Then tomorrow they will come in here and they will put in 5 Lightbearer heroes and do the exact same. So they would come in here, they would drop in 5 Lightbearer heroes, giving us 5 Lightbearer sigils. Now, of course, depending on who you put in here, if you drop in like a Draconic hero, you're getting a Draconic hero. Dimensional is random. Do not use the dimensional heroes in here because this can throw off literally all the math that we used within here. It is really a random shot on what you're going to get. Do not use the dimensional heroes in here. Then, of course, looking at some of the other heroes, if you're looking for the Hypos, the Celestials, so on and so forth, you can see, depending on the build and depending on what sigils specifically that you're looking for, is exactly how you're going to have to build it. So again, looking here, if I need 10 of the sigils of nature, I need 10 of the sigils of light, and we do have 6 attempts in here. I could do essentially 3 full Wilder teams, and then I could run 3 full Lightbearer teams to be able to buy the cores right now with essentially the 60 sigils that I would get out of here. And again, there's a couple different ways to mix and match it, depending on what you're looking for, and also depending on what heroes you have. So right here, guys, we have Greyborn with Mauler, we have Wilders with the Lightbearers. So again, if you're earlier to AFK Arena, you have to know exactly what heroes you're using in here to make sure that you're getting the sigils that you're looking for. Now, of course, the biggest thing when you look at this event is the Mercenaries. When you look at Mercenaries, you can go ahead and hire Mercenaries, and you can hire some of the strongest heroes within AFK Arena. So I can come over to my friends list. I can borrow some of the heroes with fully built based on the friends list, and making sure that I can use heroes. For instance, if I needed a Wilder hero that is very, very strong, you can see we have a fully built copy of Mishka right there. If I needed a really strong Lightbearer, we could get Scarlet, we could get an awakened version of Belinda. There's a couple different ways that you could do it, but borrowing these heroes and then doing them into your rotation, so putting them actually in the rotation, to make sure that you are getting the correct sigils is an absolute game changer, making sure again that you can win the battle. Now you can do it as many times as you want, which I love, is pretty cool. So if I go in here in a challenge and we go ahead and we drop out all of our heroes, I drop one hero in here. It is not going to take one of my attempts when I lose this battle based in here. Even though we know Mulan is pretty tough, we get defeated right there. It is a defeat. You can try again. You can keep trying this over and over and over again. And of course, I have 6 of 6 rewards. So you can go through here. You can ensure that you're going to get the sigils 100% just based on the heroes you have. And of course, you don't have to be worried about the mercenaries can be used unlimited times in a challenge. So again, if you're newer to AFK Arena, if you don't have a lot of strong awakened heroes, hop in there, go to the mercenary tab, build out and borrow your mercenaries so you can make sure that you're making advancement in the game. So all right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.